Hi, my name is Jon Svitak with the Shannon Law Group, and we help individuals who've experienced injuries or side effects due to vaccines by pursuing compensation on their behalf through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So let's say you went to your local pharmacy for your annual flu shot, and you've done this every year for the last 20 years and had no issues whatsoever. But this time, after you got it, your shoulder hurt more than usual, and over the next couple of days or weeks, the pain got worse and worse to the point where you couldn't raise your arm anymore, or you couldn't carry a gallon of milk, or you couldn't sleep on that arm or shoulder anymore. And you're wondering, could this have been caused by my flu shot? And it's possible that you're right, that you have an injury called SIRVA, or shoulder injury related to vaccine administration. In general, what we see with those cases is pain in that shoulder within the first 48 hours of receiving an intramuscular vaccine. So that's the telltale sign of a SIRVA case. Eventually, you might get a specific diagnosis as to what's going on in your shoulder, but more or less we're looking for inflammation of your shoulder joint, so the tendons, the ligaments, or the bursa within your shoulder. You might be wondering, is my doctor going to believe me when I tell him I got the flu shot and now I can't lift my arm? You may have had some conversations with friends or family or coworkers, and they find it hard to believe. So that's a concern that I hear a lot from our clients. And what I usually tell them is that you don't have to convince your doctor that this was caused by the flu shot. The most important thing that you can do in a SIRVA case is just accurately report your injury history. So if you report to him or her that your symptoms started with the flu shot, that's all you can really control. If down the road the doctor comes up with a diagnosis like tendinitis, bursitis, a rotator cuff injury or tear, frozen shoulder, impingement syndrome, these are all diagnoses that we know can be associated with SIRVA. And if your pain started within the first 48 hours of the vaccine, it's very likely that what your pain, what your symptoms are is SIRVA. So, and that's what we look for, when we pursue compensation for our clients. What I can tell you is what goes into a good SIRVA case, or what makes a good SIRVA case, is evidence of pain within the first 48 hours, a diagnosis, that I mentioned earlier, bursitis, tendinitis are the two more common. And then if we can show that you had symptoms for more than 6 months, then those are the three boxes that I like to check when I look at a SIRVA case. And the more evidence we have of all of those things, the better off your case is going to be when it gets to the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So if you've experienced a SIRVA injury, you think you might have, you're probably wondering, do I have any legal recourse? Do I have any options? And most people are unaware that there's a government program that will pay out compensation to anybody who's experienced a vaccine injury, including SIRVA. And this program is called the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. That's what we do. We file petitions on behalf of our clients who've experienced vaccine injuries, and a lot of them have experienced a SIRVA injury. Now, before we can file a petition for them, we have to make sure that they're eligible for compensation, or they meet the requirements of the program. The first requirement is that you received a covered vaccine. There's only so many vaccines that are covered under this program, so that's the first thing we do is make sure that the one that you received is on the list. The second requirement is that you're within the statute of limitations to file a petition. So the statute of limitations starts with the onset of your symptoms. You have 3 years from that date to file a petition. For a SIRVA case, most likely that's going to be the day or day after that you received the vaccine. So that's when the clock starts. If you're within 3 years of that date, then you're still eligible to file a petition. The third requirement is called the Severity Requirement, and that is that your symptoms have to persist for at least 6 months in order to file a petition. This is true regardless of what vaccine injury you have. So as long as you can meet all 3 of those requirements, we can file a petition for you. So what happens after the petition is filed? Well, the petition is filed, and along with the petition, we have to file all the evidence necessary to prove that you have a SIRVA case. So that would be all your medical records, any affidavits or witness statements that we might want to include. And then we let the court know that we've filed everything, or at least all the evidence we think that is required to prove your SIRVA case. Once that happens, the government then steps in to review it. They'll review your petition, they'll review all of the medical records and any other evidence that we've filed in support of your case, and then they make a determination. They're either going to concede that you have a SIRVA injury, or they're going to dispute it for some reason. If it's disputed, then there's a judge there, and the judge is there to resolve any disputes. Obviously, as an attorney, we advocate on behalf of our clients if there are any disputes. If they concede and they say, yes, you're entitled to compensation, we move into the next phase of the program, which is determining what your compensation is, or what your damages are. And in general, there's 3 different types of compensation. There's out-of-pocket medical expenses, so anything not covered by insurance, co-pays, payments toward a deductible, maybe a shoulder brace that you had to pay out of pocket for. That's all eligible for reimbursement. Any lost time from work, so lost income, lost wages, that's also eligible for repayment. And then there's pain and suffering damages as well. So a dollar amount or figure that's supposed to represent the severity of your pain and your symptoms, and the impact that this has had on your life. Now, for all of these different kinds of compensation, we try to get the maximum amount that you're entitled to. And we do that through documentation and in the evidence that we supply, but also in trying to portray, for the court and for the government exactly the impact that this injury has on your life. Now, we highly recommend hiring an attorney to help you navigate the vaccine injury compensation program. The biggest reason is that it's free. You're never going to pay an attorney anything to file a petition, to advocate for you, and even if you're successful and you do get compensation, it doesn't work on a contingency fee basis, so you're not paying your attorney a percentage of your compensation. The attorney is paid by the government, by that government fund. So what they're getting paid, if they're getting paid, is a completely separate decision determination as to whether you're getting compensation. So that makes the decision a lot easier. The second reason is that this program can be difficult to navigate for a pro se petitioner or a petitioner without an attorney. There's a lot of specific rules to this program, and it's helpful to have an attorney that knows their way around the program. Knows the special masters or the judges, knows some of the attorneys for the government, and it can make getting a resolution to your case a lot faster and a lot simpler. If you want to know more about the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, I wrote a book about it. It's called Vaccine Injuries: Understanding the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. If you want a free copy of this book, all you have to do is text VICP to 312-847-2428, and we'll ship a free copy to you.